Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations.
You tweeted about it. Representative Brandon Gill either calling out your CEO of NPR on her outrageous anti-American hateful wokeism or on her virtue signaling lies. Either way, pick your poison. Really exposed her for who she was. That's Representative Brandon Gill, who's now our guest, who, by the way, his latest escapade was with Jake Tapper, who's really got the sads over PBS. Take a listen to this.
Via a rescission bill, going to pull those funds back.
Okay, but Sesame Street? I mean, Daniel the Tiger, Wild Kratts? I mean, you have little kids, I know, and I'm sure you and your wife can bring them great educational programming, but a lot of kids might not have access to cable, and I didn't when I was little because cable didn't exist, but, I mean, PBS really helps little kids. I mean, I'm talking specifically about...
There you go. Jake Tapper wouldn't have learned how to read if it weren't for Sesame Street. Nobody in this country learned to read before Sesame. Of course, Jake, our kids learned from Blue's Clues, and now their kids are learning from apps on their tablets. Representative Brandon Gill joins us now. But you're fighting all the right fights in all the right ways, Congressman, and we love that about you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
After the president's executive order now to defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, what is the next step here? Do we need legislation to codify this, and will that happen?
Yes, we do, is the short answer. You know, all of these executive orders that the president's been putting out, whether it's this or on border security or everything else, has been phenomenal. I mean, he's doing everything he was elected to do, everything we want to see. But we know that none of this is permanent. It's only in effect as long as he's in office, at least until another Democrat gets elected. So what we have to do is we have to pass rescission bills. And the beauty of a rescission bill is that it's privileged in the Senate. So whenever you think of a normal piece of legislation, you need a simple majority in the House to get it passed, and you need 60 votes in the Senate, not 50. And, of course, Republicans only at 53 right now. But with a rescission bill, we only need 50 in the Senate. So we can get that passed with only Republican support. And what that would allow us to do is to claw back this money that's already been appropriated for NPR and PBS and other left-wing sources that we want to pull back. And that, I think, should be one of our top priorities right now.
Honestly, it is so wonderful. I think people have been waiting for this to happen for so long. So grateful to you for taking this up. But how will the Republicans counter the sort of defunding Big Bird? You know, there's going to be a lot of charges that, you know, we don't care about culture, sort of along the lines of Jake Tapper saying kids are not going to learn to read if they don't have PBS. What is the messaging on that?
Well, for one, PBS spun off Sesame Street in 2015 to HBO, so they don't actually create that show anymore. So the primary thing that I think scared away a lot of Republicans from wanting to defund this in the past has sort of gone away. And remember, Republicans have been talking about this for decades. We've been talking about defunding left-wing news outlets. Well, over the past several decades, not only have the news portions of both of those outlets gone further and further and further to the left. Of course, famously, NPR didn't report and deliberately chose not to report on the Hunter Biden laptop story, calling it a distraction. But even the children's shows that are so often talked about by the left have been moving into a wildly propagandistic direction for years. I mean, transgender cartoon characters pushing, cartoons with scars from transgender surgeries, gay pride parades. I mean, these are shows for 3- and 4-year-olds. So I think that not only are they showing wildly inappropriate content, but I think that a lot of the argument that the left has had regarding the educational value of these cartoon shows has really dissipated over time.
Well, and it's kind of an indictment of their beloved Department of Education and their teachers union that it takes, a cloth puppet to teach kids how to read because the schools aren't doing it. And I will maintain that no one can teach your kids to read better than parents can do it. That said, let's shift to NPR for a moment, our competition down the dial. The CEO of NPR, you just heard a clip of you questioning her. She's quite something. She's now changed her tune. I don't know if you saw her on the Sunday shows this weekend, Congressman, but she keeps emphasizing how their reporting at NPR is independent. We do independent reporting, independent. Well, the Socialist Daily Worker is also independent. That's an interesting turn of phrase. No one's complaining that they're independent, are they? That's not the criticism.
No, the criticism is that they're far left. During our hearings, one of the things that was revealed was that in the NPR newsroom, there's something around 80 out of 80 or somewhere in that ballpark of their reporters were registered Democrats or left-wing people. I mean, that's astounding. There's nothing independent about that. But even more fundamentally, don't tell me you're independent and then ask for government money. Right. You're not independent if you are, by your own admission, reliant on funds from taxpayers. We don't need state-sponsored media in the United States. China and North Korea have state-sponsored media. We don't need that here.
Public Broadcasting Act of 1967, which funded the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which then in turn partially funds NPR, says specifically that they must, and I'm quoting the law now, have a strict adherence to objectivity and balance in all program or series of programs of a controversial nature, unquote. Based on your viewing of NPR and PBS's content, are they following the law?
Absolutely not. And, one of the things, the way their funding was created here was that we typically appropriate funds 2 years in advance. And the idea is, to your point, that these are independent news agencies that are unbiased, and we don't want them to have any kind of political pressure from politicians in Washington. So we'll give them money 2 years in advance. It's harder to impact their news coverage. But all we've seen from them is left-wing story after left-wing story routinely denigrating conservatives and Christians and Republicans, attacking my side of the aisle and propping up the other side. You see that in story after story, and it's not just the Hunter Biden laptop story. It's the woke stuff incessantly. Yep. And, there was a time whenever people like Catherine Marr, the CEO of NPR, could get ahead by espousing woke views, whether she believed them or not, talk about, like as she did, and as I called her out for, reading a book about reparations and supporting reparations. There was a time whenever just doing that would get you ahead in this left-wing ecosystem. And that time is over now, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to call her out for it.
Well, it's one of the reasons why we like having you on the show. We got our eye on you, Representative Brandon Gill. You're doing a great job. Keep it up, and watch your back, because they're coming after you. You know that.
They absolutely are. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, it's 7:45.